Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. We'll start with the Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Giravardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Giravardhari Shodanandan Vraj Jana Ranjana Shodanandan Vraj Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Om Gyanti Vrinasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathmitam Tam Sajivam Sadvitam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranmami Hari Priye Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kirpa Sindhubhyevacha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvichesha Shunyavadi Paschatadishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpatam Hamandashi Gurundin Taranam Paramananda Madhvam Shitadnaishwaram Hariyam Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Saswat Vyasam Tato Jemaduriyat Nasta Paresha Abdureshu Nitam Bhagava-Sevayā Bhakti Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nestaki Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining. We are talking about Pitama, we are talking about Vishamdev and Krishna. He has been waiting for Lord Krishna to come and see him. And Lord Krishna is there, and we'll continue from verse 12. Let's share, and it's disappeared, so I'm going to have to find it. Just give me a second, please. Okay. And Bishop Tama was on the bed of arrows for 58 days. He was he lay on the bed of arrows from the 10th day onwards, and then he lay the 58 days waiting for Uttarayan, and now this Uttarayan is very auspicious time when the suns move to the north, but actually he was waiting for Lord Krishna to arrive, and Lord Krishna sort of coincided with that Uttarayan, because Lord Krishna knows everything. So I hope you can see this now, verse 12, and Aho kastam aho nyayayam yad yuyam dharma nandanaha jivatum narhat klishtam vipar dharma uchita ashraya. Aho, oh, kashtam, what terrible sufferings. Aho, oh, anya yayam, what terrible injustice. Yat, because. Yuyam, all you good souls. Dharma nandana, sons of religion personified. Jivitum, to remain alive, now never. Arhat, deserve. Klishtam, suffering. Vipar, brahmanas. Dharma, piety. Achyuta, God. Ashreha, being protected by. So Vishnudev said, oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under these tribulations, yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God and religion. So Srila Prabhupada explains that Maharaj Yudhishthira was disturbed due to the great massacre in the battle of Kurukshetra. Vishnudev could understand this, and therefore he spoke first of the terrible sufferings of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was put into difficulty by injustice only, and the battle of Kurukshetra was fought just to counteract this injustice. So it was a battle of dharma, and to establish dharma. Therefore, he should not regret the great massacre. So this is in a despondency regarding all the killing, as we've been discussing, and now Vishnudev is explaining to him. I think he's understood that Maharaj Yudhishthira is very disturbed at the moment to the great massacre, and he wants to console him by explaining to him what was going on, why it was necessary for this battle to happen, no matter at what cost. As long as they were protected by these three important items, there was no cause of disappointment, because these items, being the Brahmanas, the Lord, and religious principles, would only protect the righteous. As long as they are on the side of Dharma, they be protected. Thus, Vishnudev encouraged Maharaj Yudhishthira to dissipate his despondency. As long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmans and Vaishnavas, and strictly following religious principles, one has no cause for despondency. However, trying the circumstances of life, Vishnudev, as one of the authorities in the line, wanted to impress this point upon the Pandavas. As we were saying, that sometimes things have to be done for a higher cause, and in this case that was the higher cause. Krishna wanted this and he wanted to get rid of the demoniac mentality people, and sometimes things may seem wrong, but when you know the reasons for why they are done, then you know that that's the right thing to do. It's like the example given, if someone is ahimsa, he's a peaceful person, and yet he sees injustice being done, some old lady being beaten up by some thugs, and you say, I am ahimsa, I cannot do anything. That would be wrong as well, that you don't help anyone in the name of ahimsa. Sometimes you will have to take action because the cause is justified. So you would have to do it even if you are a peaceful entity, but sometimes you have to intervene. Let's forget the old woman. Just say it was your own family. You wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm against fighting. I'm against violence. I can't do anything." You would have to take some kind of action. So it's like that. Sometimes action has to be taken to counteract the demonic activity. So Srila Prabhupada explains, why do bad things happen to good people? So according to this verse, so many bad things happen to the Pandavas. Why do bad things happen to good people? The Pandavas were great souls, yet they had to suffer so much. They went through so much tribulations, yet they survived. Bhishmadev could see the despondency of Yudhishthira Maharaj, so he spoke first. So he thought, I will start because he knows that he needs to do this before he leaves his body. So they were protected by the following: Vipra, Dharma, Achyuta, Ashraya, as explained in the verse. So Lord Achyuta, the infallible Lord, and Vipra is the Brahmins, Dharma, the religious principles. They were protected by these. And as long as everything is in line with the wishes of Lord Achyuta, in guidance of the bona fide Brahmins and strictly following the religious principles, one has no cause for despondency. So how can we be protected by these three? We can be protected by, first of all, taking shelter of the Lord through his glories. So this is for us. We want to be protected by the Brahmanas, the Lord, and the religious principles. We can be protected by these by, first of all, taking shelter of the Lord through his glories, his words, like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and his deity form. We should embrace both forms of shelter. We should be hearing, chanting, and secondly, we should be serving the deities, serving in any way practical, directly or indirectly. So you serve them directly or you help someone who is serving them. We can take the shelter of expert devotees and learn from them. From mentors, by taking guidance, we can save so much time. Siksha Gurus, Diksha Gurus. Third, principles of Dharma we should follow. Four active principles: having respect, having compassion, aligning our life based on Dharma. Dharma is always wins Adharma. So Bhishmadev told Yudhishthira that you have no cause to despond because you are following all these three aspects. So this is how we can also follow these three aspects. Very important to follow these three, to stay in the mode of goodness, to have favor of these three is very important. So 13. Samistite tirathe pando pritha bal praja vadhu yushmat krite bahun kleshan prapta tokvati mohu. So Smistate, after the demise Ati Rathe of the great general Pandu, Pritha, Kunti, Bal Praja, having young children, Vadhu, my daughter-in-law, Yushmat Krite, on your account, Bahun, multifarious, Kleshan, afflictions, Prapta, underwent, Tokbati, in spite of having grown up boys, Muhu, constantly. And now he's talking about Kunti Mata. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great general Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children. Therefore, she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. The sufferings of Kunti Devi are doubly laminated. She suffered greatly because of her early widowhood, and to get her minor children brought up in the royal family. And when her children were grown up, she continued to suffer because of her son's actions. So her sufferings continued. This means that she was destined to suffer by providence. And this one has to tolerate without being disturbed. And think about the sufferings of the Pandavas and Draupadi, but Kunti, she also suffered because of her family. So it's mentioned that we cannot equate that a great devotee equals no suffering. Yeah, just because you have shelter like they had of Krishna, and they were exalted devotees. Suffering is there. This is a suffering world. It's there. You cannot tell from her praise that she is a great devotee. You can tell from her praise that she is a great devotee, yet she suffered at every stage. So she was so wise, she has so much knowledge, she was a devotee of the Lord, yet she suffered so much. So most people try to give me to suffering by embracing spiritual life. We think that we'll come to Krishna consciousness and all our troubles will go away. Troubles don't go away. But even they are suffering. So what to do now? So you thought, you've taken the shelter of the Lord and all your problems will be solved, but they're not solved. So where to go now? Because Krishna is the cause of all causes. There's nothing beyond that. So where you go from here? Vishnudev was lying on the bed of arrows that Arjun had pierced into him, yet Vishnu was not angry or upset with Arjun. He still saw him as his loving grandchild. He was in a lot of pain due to these arrows, but it didn't bother him so much because he was seeing from his own perspective. This is what we need to do. The suffering is there, so the suffering will always be there. That cannot be avoided. But we need to change the perspective of how we see things. So even though there may be suffering, we will not experience that suffering. Kunti was destined to suffer by providence. This suffer we accept it. So suffering does come in its way because happiness and distress comes uninvited. So if it does come, you just accept it, that this is what the Lord wants for me for now, and you accept it in a humble way. And in fact, you can learn from your suffering. You can see something positive from your suffering. You can come closer to Krishna while you're suffering. Just like Kunti Mata said, that let these calamities come again and again, so we can get close to you, because now that our problems have gone away, you are also going away. So use that time to get closer to Krishna when the problems are there. So Vishnudev saw the family as a unit, so he could feel the pain of the Pandavas or what they had to go through. Nowadays, family are getting smaller and smaller, and even the small family is breaking up. People are just thinking about themselves. So they are one unit. They were all one big family, and Vishnudev felt their pain as well. The pain was also connected. Sarvam kal kritam manye pavatam cha yad apriyam sapalo yad vashelo ko vayo eva gana valahi. Sarvam, all this kal kritam, done by inevitable time. Manye, I think, bhavatam cha, for you also, yat, whatever, apriyam, detestable, sapalaha, with the rulers, yat vashe, under the control of that time, loka, everyone in every planet, vaiho, the wind carries even as ghan avalihi, a line of clouds. Gan avalihi. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. So there is control by time all over the space within the universe, as there is control by time all over the planets. All the big gigantic planets, including the sun, are being controlled by the force of air, and the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable Kal or time controls even the action of the air and other elements. Everything, therefore, is controlled by the supreme Kal, a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhishthira should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to obey the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world, because time devours everything. That's his service. Yudhishthira should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequences. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, who is guided by the bona fide Brahmana and the Vaishnava, following the religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of that time. Because Brahmaji has a beginning and an end. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. So, telling us not to be disturbed by the time, because time affects everyone in the material world. So it's nothing, it's not just targeted as us. It is for everyone. When time starts, the material world starts, and that's just the way it is. It's controlled by time. So the suffering that your brothers went through, your mother went through, Hasanapu went through, and the whole world went through is all due to inevitable time, Kal, Kritam. In all material action, everyone is controlled by time, as mentioned. So it seems the concept of time management not possible. You can't manage time. Time is managing you. So we think we are managing time. In fact, time is controlling us. You cannot prioritize activities, that's all. You can prioritize your activities, but you're controlled by time. But still have that time. You can shuffle your priorities, but still time is the controller. Krishna as time controls everything. We just have to accept every situation and circumstance. By this we can grow. Otherwise we unnecessarily disturb ourselves. So we spend all our time being disturbed that we lose the opportunity to grow spiritually. We continue faithfully under the protection of Achyuta, the Brahmana, and the scriptures. So we will remember these things. We take shelter of God, the Vaishnavas, and the scriptures. So in terms of providence, some situation may be due to our past activity, others may be Krishna's arrangement. In the pastime of Krishna coming to Mathura, when he asked the king's washerman if he could have some nice royal clothes to wear, the washerman gave him a big lecture that it was a criminal offense to request the clothes that were meant for the king. And he became disrespectful to the Lord. Krishna just with his one hand chopped off the washerman's head. It may seem a harsh reaction, but the Acharyas explain that this was the same washerman from the Treta Yuga who, at the time of Ram, questioned Sita Mata's chastity. So his reaction was given now. So everything controlled by time. You cannot escape time. So this is just the pastime that the king's washerman, we remember from Krishna Leela. Krishna Leela, that Krishna asked the washerman for the clothes of the king, and he refused, and Krishna chopped his head. And you might think, well, that was a bit harsh. Does the punishment fit the crime? But explained here that he is the same washerman from the Ram Leela, that he accused Sita Mata of such things, and now he had to pay the price in the Dwapar Yuga. So yeah, difficult to escape time. So in 15, Yatra Dharma Suto Raja Gada Phanir Vrikodara Krishnostri Gandevam Chapam Suhrat Krishnas Tato Vipat. So Yatra, where there is Dharma Suta, the son of Dharmaraj, Raja, the king, Gada Panhi, this mighty club in hand, Vrikodara is Bhim, another name for Bhim, Krishna, Arjun, Astri, carrier of the weapon, Gandiv, Chapam Bhau Suhrat Valvisha Krishna, Lord Krishna, the person of Godhead, Tatha, thereof Vipat, reverse. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion? Bhim, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjun with his mighty weapon Gandiv, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. So how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time, even with all these mighty warriors and God himself there. So as far as the material spiritual resources were required, there was no scarcity in the case of the Pandavas. Material, they were well equipped because two great warriors, namely Bhima and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was a similar religion, and above all of them, the personal Godhead, Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna, was personally concerned with the affairs as the well-wisher. And yet there were so many reverses on the side of the Pandavas. Despite the power of pious acts, the power of personalities, the power of expert management, and the power of weapons under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kal, inevitable times. So it seems like Kal is so powerful, is undefeatable in the material world. This is why Krishna doesn't bother with Kal in the spiritual world. They don't need all that up there. Kal is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kal indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human beings. So what is in our control, we're trying to do something about it, and what is not in our control, no, there's no point lamenting over it because it's not in our control. We just tolerate it. So it's 15. Here Bhim is giving evidence why everything is controlled. Bhisham is giving evidence why everything is controlled by time. The Pandavas are individually so powerful, then what to speak of them collectively. So each one is mentioned here. And then, that they are power personified on their own, and collectively, you can imagine how strong they are. Then what to speak of them collectively? They even have the Supreme Personality Godhead with them as their friend and guide. Bhisham had the strength of 10,000 elephants, which means that if you put 10,000 elephants in a line, and Bhisham hit the first elephant so hard that all the rest would also die. Arjun with his Gandhi bow could fire in all directions using either hand. So some of the qualities are given here. Wish of the Lord, accept the wish of the Lord as he desires. We have a circle of concern of so many things like the weather, the government, our family, our health, our spiritual life. So this is our circle of concern, is mentioned as or described as. So in this large circle, there is only a small circle that we can actually influence, that we can do something about. It's best then to focus on the smaller circle of concern and possible influences. This will save us from being frustrated or depressed. For example, if it's raining, then I just have to accept it. It's raining. What control you have, you can control that. Do I get wet or not? You can come indoors, take an umbrella. You can't stop the rain. So, what we can control, we control. What is not in our control, we just tolerate. It is how it is. It's the same for everyone else. And finally, we'll look at verse 16. And so many lessons here to learn. Nahi asya krihichid rajan puman veda vidit sitam yad vijigyanasya yukta muhuyanti kavayo pihi. So none ever he certainly asya his krihichit whatsoever, Rajan or king, Puman, anyone, Veda knows. Vidisitam plan yat vijnanasya, with exhaustive inquiries, yuktha, being engaged, muhyanti, bewildered, kavya, great philosophers, api, even high, or he, certainly. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. So it's very difficult to understand Krishna. You can only understand Krishna as much as he would like us to understand. Nobody can understand him completely. So the bewilderment of Maharaj Yudhishthira over his past sinful acts and the resultant suffering, etc., is completely negated by the great authority Bhisham, one of the 12 authorized persons. Bhisham wanted to impress upon Maharaj Yudhishthira that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. God works in mysterious ways. So what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the exhaustive philosophical inquiries of sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. The best policy is simply to abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. The Lord had to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. Bhishmadev was certainly satisfied by seeing the triumph of virtue, and he was glad to see King Yudhishthira on the throne, although he himself fought against him. Even a great fighter like Bhisham could not win the battle of Kurukshetra because the Lord wanted to show the wise cannot conquer virtue. This is one of the reasons why Bhishamdev, the great Bhishamdev, was on the opposition side, because Krishna wanted to show that no matter how great you are, you cannot win over Dharma, regardless of who tries to execute it. Bhishamdev was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord, because the Lord wanted to show that a fighter like Bhisham cannot win on the wrong side. Amazing. So anything here to explain? Yes. So Bhishamdev chose to fight on the wrong side by the will of the Lord, because Krishna wanted to show that even a great warrior, which we just mentioned, if he sides with adharma, he will eventually lose. Srila Prabhupada became overly dependent on Krishna to make him a puppet, because he was not capable to do anything, yet he spent every minute as everything depended on him. So that's the way. So we try our best, but understand that the final result in Krishna's hands. We shouldn't think that I am the controller, that Krishna is controlling me, but it's my duty. You do your duty. That is very important. Krishna told Arjuna, you must do your duty. Duty we do to our best of ability. We leave the rest to the Lord. We cannot always understand the plan of Krishna. Even Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma can understand the plan of Krishna. When we accept our circumstances, situation, and people around us, accepting doesn't mean we do nothing. We still have free will to act. We can apply our free will in 4 ways. So internally we accept our circumstances, but externally we do what we can, which is in our control, right? But internally we accept it, then at least that would give us peace. So we can apply our free will in 4 ways, explained. First is modeling. We can be good role models for others, dependents, friends, and colleagues, students. Mentor, loving. We can be a mentor, a loving mentor, can be a good mentor and guide, can have loving exchanges, giving kind impression. We can apply a good in free will by organizing. I can help by organizing things. These things we can do. And teaching, I can help through teaching those who have faith and trust in accepting good guidance. So this is why Srila Prabhupada never wasted time, because these things he could do. could be a good role model, could be a loving mentor and a guide. He could organize things, and he could teach those who have faith and trust. So there are things. It's not like we're complete puppets. We have free will. There's things we can do that are, so we have some control. We can do these things, but things that we can't do, we just rely on Krishna to do the best for us, which he does. Is a well-wisher, and he'll only do what is right for us under the circumstances, which may not seem right at the time, but given time, we will understand, yes, that was the right thing to happen at that time, because it will teach some lessons. It will take us in the right direction as well. So thank you so much. I hope that was useful. I certainly found it very useful, and I'd like to hear from yourselves. And we'll ask Sarvashri Mataji if you'd like to say something, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Well, it's all about Pandavas and Yudhishthira Maharaj and Bhishma, mostly Bhishma Deva. And Bhishma is amongst all Mahajanas, and he had authority to teach Krishna consciousness and about religion. He knew about religion. That's why Krishna took all the Pandavas to Bhishma. And Bhishma also, he loved Pandavas very much because they were following dharma, the path of truthfulness and the religion. So Krishna is always on the side of religion. And that's why he said when there is a lack of a religion, he's come down to establish the religion. So he always on the side of religion. And Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was a true Vaishnava, very compassionate towards everyone. He blamed himself for the cause of killing everybody, but it was not the cause. It was all Krishna's will to be killed because they were all Atanis and they had to die. So it was Krishna's will, but everything, just taking all the blame. And then there's three kind of sufferings, and Adhyatmic, Adibhautik, and Adidevik. And the Kunti Devi and Yudhishthira Maharaj, they're suffering. And it's that kind of suffering is Adhyatmic, and it's mind, through the mind. It was always going in the mind, they were like that it all happened because of them, and it therefore, so they were suffering. It's suffering of the mind. And then is the suffering of Adibhautik. Adibhautik is you are suffering from others, like you are suffering because of the Kauravas and Bhishma, especially Duryodhan, they were suffering. So this kind of suffering they had. And it's the time, everything happens according to the time, and Krishna is the time. And it is controlled by the time, Lord. Sometimes in your favor, sometimes it's not in your favor. So therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj should not have felt sorry for killing, because it's the time. Might you do things right thing, might you do wrong thing. And Krishna's time, he'll let you do right or wrong thing. At heart, Bhishma wanted Maharaj Yudhishthira to be king and sit on the throne, and because they were following the right path, the truthfulness, and that made him happy to see the Pandavas. So another reason for Krishna to bring Pandavas, because he knew that Bhishma wanted to see Pandavas, and Pandavas wanted to see Bhishma. So that's why he brought them to Bhishma. In our life, sometimes time is in our favor, sometimes not. But we must have faith in Krishna. Whatever he does is for our good. But we cannot understand. We blame everything. And Krishna is a control of everything. Nothing is in our control. But we like to be controllers. Example, Ravana, Kamsa, Duryodhan. They thought they could control everything. But then they could not do it. So they suffered by Krishna's hand. And time is very important. We should use our time in saving Krishna, then rather saving Maya. Because once the time passes, you can't bring the time back. Even if you spend $1,000,000, you said the time come back. Time doesn't come back. And so when anything happens in our life, you should have faith in Krishna that it's Krishna's doing whatever he's doing. It should be in the favor. So we should spend our most of the time serving Krishna rather saving Maya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mata. Yeah, even the great, you see history, the great warriors like Alexander the Great or Napoleon, they thought they were next to God, or they felt they were like God. And but with time, everything got devoured. They got devoured with time as well. And Alexander, they called him the Great because he proved that he thought he could take everything, but no, there's a higher power. He went empty-handed, even though he tried to conquer the whole world. Thank you so much, Mataji. We'll ask Hina Mataji. Maybe she need to leave. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. So many points covered off in these verses. I think the key ones for me was around using the example of Bhishma Dev's life, how if one follows Dharma, you really can't go wrong, despite the circumstances being very difficult. In Bhishma Dev's example, he was bound by his vow to support the side of Duryodhan and Dharma, so he was against. He knew that, but he still followed it. He still followed his Dharma very strictly. I think some other points that I noted was around how we should strive to serve directly or indirectly to the Lord. So essentially, it's just about, and I think there's so many nice points about this around time and using time. I think we're all under the control of time, but this is, for me, I need to use my time more wisely, about prioritizing it more in devotional service. That we have free will, so I can use my thoughts, my deeds, my actions for this purpose. And also some nice points already made around how being a devotee does not mean that all your sufferings will go away and disappear. So we just need to be tolerant and accept the will of the Lord, and whatever comes our way, as Mataji nicely explained as well. Krishna knows best. He's got bigger, grander plans than we have, and he can see the big picture. So we just have to learn to trust and accept it. So that was it. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, we only have to look back at the life of Srila Prabhupada. He had all the Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, Adi Atmik problems, but he did not give up. He understood that this is what these problems are. This comes as a package. It cannot be avoided. You have to take the whole package. You can't come in the material world and pick and choose. It's all there. It's part of the way things are, and it's there for everyone. And we have to make the best of the bad bargain. Thank you, Mataji, so much. Pundikaksh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Yeah, there are so many instructions in this purport. Especially the people think that whenever problem comes, they think that why this happened to me. But these purports are telling us what could be the reason for our suffering in this material world. So either it could be a providence or time, but especially we are come here because of our own actions. and to face the reactions and to realize God. So this is an opportunity given to us. And sufferings is the only one way by which we can actually realize the presence of Lord in reality. And we can see how compassionate Bhishma Dev is in the first text. So, Yudhishthira did not mention what is actually going in his mind, but Bhishma Dev, he could understand what is going in his mind and directly address that point instead of talking, "How are you? Hello." No, it's coming straight forward to the point that okay, you're disappointed, but there is no reason to get disappointed because again, three reasons: you're following the scriptures, you're following the brahmanas, and you're following. I mean, you have Lord Himself with you, and these three things are there with you because you are leading a pious life. So that's why you need not worry because you have just contracted what was happening with you. And then he mentioned about Kunti Devi suffering because Kunti Devi lost her husband when she was very young itself, because Pandu Maharaj got a curse that when he associated with his wife, he will die. So he died. And Madri, the other wife, said that I will go for Sati thing into the fire along with the husband because you're there. I mean, you're capable of taking care of all the children. And from since then, Mother Kunti was taking care of the children. So she suffered in that way also. But again, because of animosity from Kauravas, they were troubling Pandavas, and automatically Mother Kunti was suffering even with them. At the time of Lakshya, the house burnt, they were running, and also Kunti Mata was also running with them to protect herself. So we can see she suffered. And Bhishma Devi is saying that this is not all because of any providence or because of not doing any correct activities in previous life. This is absolutely the Lord wish. So because of which you need not get worried. You have to just face it with the time. It will be okay. Like again, Matrusparshasya Kaunteya Shitosna Sukha Dukkadaha. So you have to suffer this, and then finally you'll be protected by the Lord. Your protection of the Lord, that is more important than anything. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, and also by the example of the Vashaman, they proved that even sometimes we think why do good people suffer? Or why do bad things happen to good people? So these low karma, it doesn't necessarily, it can do, but doesn't necessarily have effect straight away. It can, from Treta Yuga to Dwapar Yuga, after such a long time, he suffered for being disrespectful, face to face to the Lord. To the Lord by accusing Sita Mata of her chastity. So this karma can come straight away, or it can come many lifetimes. So that is like one reason. Or the other, this is other reason that life is part of, is suffering is part of life. That is also true. Sometimes Krishna makes arrangements for us because he wants to do something for us for advancement, because he takes, especially for devotees, he takes control of our karma and he gives us Krishna karma so we can advance. So, it depends on our perspective, how we want to look at it. You want to blame Krishna, say, I'm such a nice person, but why you do this to me? You're not going to advance, so you're just going to lament and waste your life. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. What can I say? Krishna is beyond comprehension. Nobody apart from Krishna knows his plan. He's the master organizer, master tactician, master arranger, master destroyer. Yudhishthira, who was the emperor of the universe at the time, such an exalted position, presented himself in front of Bhishma Dev in a distressed state. Oh why did this all happen? This is all part of Krishna's master plan. As was Bhishmadev living in the house of the Kauravas, a great Mahajan, a great Mahatma, living and working with the opposition? How can that be? But this is how Krishna puts us in those diametrically opposed situations to see how we cope. How would Ajmela cope with Uncle Bells? He was weak. And these are things that happen to us in our day-to-day lives. These things happened 5,000-10,000 years ago, time, and we can't even tell exactly when these things happen. 5, 10, 6, 7, 10,000. A long time ago, but it still has relevance to today's reality. And the Lord gives the simple messages. Have faith in me. Have faith in Dharma. Have faith in doing the right thing. Perform your activities for a higher cause. The higher cause is dharmically driven. Actions should justify the means. And those actions sometimes, even a pious, non-violent man may have to take up arms, because there should be a cause which says, I will be prepared to put my life on the line. I am not a hero. I am a living coward. But there comes a time when you have to say, yeah, this is a cause worth fighting for. And hence Krishna put these tests to the Pandavas. Even to Duryodhana, he was given the opportunity. Choose me or choose the Sena or the army. Some people are misguided. Some people prefer blades of grass more than the Lord. And hence, we have to make the right choices, and we have to be driven by the right principles. The principles of Dharma, God, the 4 regulative principles, and all that is, which is in the 3 modes of consciousness. We need to make the difference between ignorance and passion, because we need to know that the topmost is the mode of goodness. And if you're driven by those higher principles, then all things will come to great fruition. And that is the messages of the divine, Suffering was there for many people. Suffering is inevitable in this birth that we have. Without suffering, there is no growth. And the Gita teaches us, hey guys, get comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? The sun's out now, but it's only a matter of time when the rain's there. And so it's about dealing with the dualities of life, dealing with, the positives and the negatives that occur. Kunti Mata is an example of how she dealt with such great adversity. I've always said adversity either makes you or will break you. And you have a choice. You sink or you swim. And most people with great religious, dharmic values and principles, they will come to the surface. They will rise to the challenge to say, okay, this was all part of Krishna's master plan. There's a good reason why Krishna put this difficult task before me. This is, how can this bad, unsurmountable thing happen to me? This is for a greater purpose, because he will only put things in our experience, in our ability to cope and manage to the best of our ability. He says, I will give you those tasks and difficulties because I know you can manage, but I won't put them in such a way that it'll be beyond your ability to cope with. He's the master controller, but he also gives us free will to take control of our lives. And how we do that is we model good behaviors to others. We model good words and deeds to others. We can be good mentors to others. We can be good preachers and teachers to others. And that is the way that Bhishma there was. Even on the bed of arrows, he was still the graceful guru to the Pandavas. And to anybody and all the sages who were there. All the sages came from all over the world, all over the cosmos, all over the universe to pay their obeisances to him. Being on the opposition doesn't mean to say you are a bad person. It just means to say you have to rise higher than the levels that the opposition set. You can work in an organization where the principles and values are very poor, but you've got to rise above the values of that organization. We can live in extended families, but we have to give those values which are commensurate with bringing up good families. We can live in a nuclear family, there's only husband and wife, but they can't get on with each other. You know, this is how Kala, time, extended families, and watching too many serials give us negative values. And so there's so much learning from even 4 texts or 5 texts, you know, that these have relevance today to become Krishna's instrument. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, I like your point. Nuclear family, husband and wife, yeah, they're more likely to fight because there's no one there to, you know, they have no like shame that, you know, the father-in-law or the mother-in-law might hear, or somebody in the family will hear. They just go all out, guns blazing, because there is nothing stopping them. Thank you, very nice. Thank you, everybody. Another Rani?
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, wonderful shlokas are giving us more and more realizations, nectars, how to go about in life. And what is the main problem of everyone in this material world? It's the tests, it's the sufferings. I think when we came to this material world of our own accord, of our own will, we didn't know that there'll be bigger sufferings there as well, because our souls, you know, they have everything embedded in them from the past lives. But I think somewhere the pride must have kicked in. We might have thought that, okay, I'll be able to, you know, lord it over in this material world better than I'm here serving the Lord in the spiritual world. So these shlokas tell us that we have to adhere to the 3 principles, be faithful to the Lord, guided by the Vaishnavas, the Brahmanas, and we have to follow the religious principles and the devotional principles of the religion, and then life will be successful. But until and unless one has come into Krishna consciousness, this won't be clear to them. So I think half of our task has been done by coming to the Krishna consciousness. At least we know that the tests are there in this world, but suffering is optional. Even in the material world, they use this saying. So this shows that everybody has got a little bit of sukriti from past life. At least they have got good sayings even in the material world out there. So when the suffering is optional, whenever the suffering, the tests come, the wrong, you know, should I say wrong times or the difficult times come upon anyone, first thing one should do is take to the teachings of the Shastras and your gurus, your mentors, and you know, the classes you hear day in and day out. What's the use of hearing them if you can't apply them when the time comes? And the time comes every day in the form of our mind giving us suffering. Then there is people around us. Then there is the nature, and you open the newspaper or the any of the websites. This is the first things you hear: problem, problem, problem. So how to counteract this has been given so nicely by these lives of the Mahajanas, and it seems that how lucky we are that we can sit down and give some time at the start of a day and cushion ourselves from all the sufferings which otherwise would be just hammering us, and we will be just playing victim to them. So instead of playing victim to them, we will suffer a little bit, because we are still the humans, we are jivas, we are not very high, elevated, exalted like the senior gurus, swamis in our sampradaya or in the world. So there's so much hope, so much lessons, so much comfort coming from these shlokas to us, to how to go about in our lives and get closer to the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. It's very enlightening experience today, and learned so much. And we'll catch up again on Monday, more from Vishnudev, and what advice is given to Yudhishthir. The advice applies to us as well. We can learn so much from these from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Granth Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai,
Srila Prabhupada
ki jai. All goes to the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Hare.